Don't y'all go back talking about us saying we don't have our stuff together, because
Don't you do
we
it
do.
right.
Please don't do that.
I'm all good.
All right. Take your word for it, because you're going to see yourself in about an hour and a half on Instagram. Keep on.
That's okay. I'm still on
We're
vacation,
live.
so
We're live.
I got
We're live.
time.
We're live.
We're live.
All right. All right. Hello, everybody.
What's going on?
How's
How
it
are you?
going?
Hey,
Hello, hello. Hi.
Make sure.
Oh, we can't see the chat.
I'm trying to see if there's an echo. Do y'all hear an echo?
No, but everybody should say something so we can hear if anybody else has an echo.
This is Jermaine. Check,
No,
check.
No. Jermaine, you
Yeah, I
good?
don't hear no echo. Yep.
I'm trying to see if there's an echo. Do y'all hear an echo?
There it is now. Did you turn on something else?
Yeah, I think
I turned it on
somebody
my. Yeah, that was me on my phone. Sorry, y'all.
turn,
Okay.
Just trying to
yeah,
listen to the
turn
play.
your phones down, please. Okay. All right, y'all. There we go.
Oh, it looks good. Good morning, good morning, good morning. No, I'm just joking.
All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We've got our Men in Candles segment here. Oh.
I'm excited.
This is gonna be fun, so y'all better bring it.
We are so excited.
Better bring it.
All right. So let us start. We're going to start where all of the Men in Candles are going to introduce themselves. So let's start with Gary.
with me.
Of course.
Hey, everybody. My name is Derek Matthews. I'm the founder of Home Candle Company based in Atlanta, Georgia. I started the company in February of 2021, shortly after the pandemic. I will go into that further on the next go round. Was I supposed to say something else?
What's your favorite color?
That was awesome.
Oh, no, I think Jules is frozen, though.
Right.
Emma?
No,
You
you're
were,
good.
yeah.
No, I'm just hearing like a double, so I don't know.
Are you still hearing it? It might be if we are on the YouTube, it's gonna give you the echo. So let me get out. I'm out.
Yeah, I think everyone's going to have to turn their YouTube off.
We out. I'm off. This is the first time we did this many people on All Up in Your Wax, so it's a little difficult. You got it, sis?
I got it. I'm trying to make sure because I'm hearing backbeat. So,
I'm out too. So
Yep, I turned my phone all the way off.
yeah, I logged off on my TV too. You
Do
still
we
here?
need to be headphones?
okay. All right. Are we back? Everybody can hear?
Yes.
We're good. Okay. Like there's backfeed. All right. I think we're going to start over because I don't hear the backfeed anymore. So we're going to have to start over again. Derek, I'm sorry, can you start again for us?
That was
No
just the warm
problem.
up.
My name is Derek Matthews. I'm the founder of Home Candle Company based in Atlanta, Georgia. I started in February of 2021, shortly after the pandemic lockdown.
All right. Thank you. Next, Devon.
I guess that's my turn. Hey, I hope y'all can hear me okay. My name is Devon Kibble. I'm 28 years old. I'm the owner of Great Divide Candle Company based in Houston, Texas. Um, I've been doing this for a little over 3 years. I launched in August of 2020, so smack dead in the middle of the pandemic.
Yeah. All right. All right. We don't have Mila. So next is Jamal.
Hey everybody, happy Monday, happy MLK Day. My name is Jamal Grace. I'm the founder and creator director here at Grace and Love Candle Co., based out of Loudoun County, Virginia, which is a suburb in the Metro DC area. We were founded in March of 2020. We were incorporated in June of 2020, and we create core memories while giving back all at the same time through fragrance.
All right. Derek.
Can you all hear me?
Yes.
I am Jarek, the founder of Kai Fragrances, which started July of 2022 for this go round. And I forgot what else I was supposed to say. So
Just your name, your brand, and when you got started.
yeah. And I think I covered everything. And I'll
Okay.
to the next person.
All right. Jermaine.
Hey everyone, my name is Jermaine Demetrius. I am the creator of Jermaine Demetrius Art Inspired Candles. I actually came up with this concept in October of 2020, and we are based in Los Angeles.
All right. Mr. Freeman, J. Freeman Johnson.
Okay. My name is Jay Freeman Johnson, obviously. I started Lit Candles back in 2018. And we operate out of, we're a manufacturing company also with our own brand, and we operate out of Trenton, New Jersey.
Okay. All right. Mr. Justin.
Jay's in the room. I like that.
The Jays.
Yes, repping for the Jays. My name is Justin Ruff. I am the owner of Justin Ruff Candle Call. I'm actually a singer, songwriter, first and foremost. So this was birthed as a way to create an immersive listening experience for my fans. And I'm probably the newbie of the group because I've only been in business for 6 months. So I'm excited to learn from some of the vets and OGs on the call today.
Okay. Come on, OGs. All right. And Keith.
Yo, what's going on? My name is Keith of Keith Clark Collection. The home version of my business, because I do skincare, body care, and home scents. So I've been a chandler since about 2018, and then went full-fledged with making candles right before the beginning of the pandemic.
Okay. So it sounds like a lot of people have been doing this since the pandemic. Oh, awesome. All right, so we're going to go back around, same order. And so we know that each of you has a unique journey into the world of candle making. And everyone, we've looked at your pages, everyone has like something totally different. And so share like a brief story about how you started and what drew you to this craft. So we will start back to Derek.
So I started making candles in 2020, actually during the pandemic. Like everybody, I was stuck in the house and I was working from home at the time, full time as a graphic designer. And being confined in the space, I found myself searching for ways that I could just like basically switch up the environment. So I was going out when I could, I would go to like Kroger or, grocery stores and buying candles. And I found myself just burning a lot. And through that, I realized like the power that like just literally home fragrance can have to impact, your mood, your just overall setting. And just so happened, like many people, I lost my job during the pandemic, and I was like, okay, what am I going to do now? So the seed was planted from, my personal use of candles and understanding of how they affected me during that time. And I got into a business incubator class, developed the idea for home, launched in February of 2021, and, kind of just hit the ground running, real heavy on social media, jumped into markets. I did like a convention, a big convention where buyers come to and all that kind of stuff very early in my journey, probably like 4 months in, which was kind of crazy to me now looking back, but it definitely kind of like sped up my journey, really got my feet wet really quickly. I got some contacts and some buyers. I got into some stores nationwide from that. I got in contact with the editor of Oprah Daily, which is how I ended up getting featured in Oprah Daily from that. So everything kind of went really quickly for me. So a lot of times people they think that I've been in business or doing this for much longer than I actually have, but I feel like I'm a newbie still and have a lot to learn. So I appreciate groups like this, Black Candle Makers Club, this space with male channelers that, I know we exist, but I don't see y'all very often. But I just appreciate this space and this opportunity.
Thank you. Yeah. I think a lot of I remember when we talked about this the other day in our Facebook group, they would all, we'd always have posts, hey ladies, let me know. And then there was a guy that jumped on and he was like, I'm tired of y'all talking about, hey ladies.
He sure did.
It's winning. So yeah, because it's rare. So it's like, yeah, I was just laughing. I was like, oh my God, he is for real. So yes, thank you. And Mr. Devon, what about you?
Child, I didn't cut my video off. Okay, I'm back. Um, I started experimenting with candles like in late 2018, 2019. I did one of those things where you buy the Amazon kit like for candle making, and so that's kind of what jump started the idea, but I was still working full-time at a pharmacy. So when 2020 came around, it's like the idea was fresh in my mind. I was like, okay, I'm tired of working at this pharmacy because I was working there for like 7 years. So I was like, I want to do something different. I was in school at the time. I was just like, I don't know if I want to go the school route. I didn't feel like I should be the type of person that had to work for somebody. I always knew that I wanted like my own business and wanted something to kind of develop into my own. So that's kind of how the idea came about. But I've always been a person who's been into like cologne and different scents. I was that person with the candle cabinet that you kind of just go in and pick out what you're feeling that day. And I just played with the idea. I was like, what if I started making candles? I was asking one of my friends, and they was like, you'll be really good at it. So every time when I got paid, every 2 weeks, I would buy supplies. I was researching on YouTube like crazy, just like trying to get all the information that I needed, that I felt like I needed to know to like really go full force with this thing and start it. So like I said, I would buy supplies every 2 weeks when I would get paid. By the beginning of the summer, I had like a garage full of supplies. And then I was like, okay, well, man, I got to do something with this. I didn't put all this money into it, so let's start it. So I started testing out different fragrances and things, and I actually launched August of 2020. And I think I released like maybe 5 or 6 scents, nothing major, but they all sold out within like 5 or 6 hours that same day. So then I was like, oh, okay, so y'all really, messing with the kid, I guess. So so then ever since then it's just been up. I've been adding, different sizes. I started doing candle making classes and incorporating new products. And I do still feel like I'm in the beginning stages, so I'm happy to learn from everybody on the panel. And it's gonna be a good day.
Yes. Awesome. All right, Mr. Jamal.
So we got started like literally when the pandemic hit, right? And while everybody was running out, like trying to get food and apparently toilet paper and things of that nature, I absolutely was like, I need to get candles because I don't know how long I'm going to be stuck in my space for, and I need peace in my life. All right. So we easily spend like $200 to $300 a month on candles, no problem. And we burned through all of our candles in like the first 2 weeks of quarantine, I want to say. All right. And before I make this comment, I'm just going to caveat everybody right now. I'm sure everybody has their opinion, but we are still great people. In true Gemini form, I had a conversation with myself about, yeah, see, I'm telling you right now. See, I know. See, I appreciate that because I know everybody doesn't rock with Geminis like that. But at the end of the day, we are amazing people. And I had an entire conversation with myself about whether or not you can make candles because I was just like, oh, at this point, when I went online to look for some things, I couldn't find anything that I actually liked or that was actually in season or that wasn't ridiculously overpriced. And so I hit this thing where I was just like, well, can I make candles? And in my mind, there was absolutely no way you can make candles. Don't ask me why. I convinced myself of this. But then I became infatuated with the process and the science associated with actually making candles and things of that nature. And it was history from that point. And when my friends and family started finding about it, they were just like, oh, send me one. I was just like, I mean, sure, why not? And so I dropped it up at the post office before I learned what all was involved with shipping and processing, because that's a whole other story within itself. And everybody really, yeah, y'all get it. Everybody really liked it. And they were just like, you should really try and, take this and run with it. And I was just like, I don't like corporate America. Why not? And so it's been a journey over the past 3.5, 4 years, but that was really our starting point. And then the way that we saw that our products really resonated with people was even more inspirational for us to want to continue to grow and expand our reach. And so it's been a very trying but yet inspirational journey that we're excited to continue to grow and, in my words, spread grace and love throughout the world.
Nice. All right, and Jarek.
So back in the 90s, 97, I was in college, and one of the groups that I was in had a banquet, and they had given us these votive candles when we left. I really wasn't into candles at that time, but I lit it and it made my room smell good, and I sort of got obsessed with candles. And fast forward, my sister had went to Michael's and bought some stuff to make candles. And that's where I first started making candles in the kitchen of my parents' house while I was in college. And I started giving them away. I didn't really like to part with my candles. For me at that time, it was more around the ritual of making the candles, lighting the candles. It was more something that I did for me. But the same sister who bought the supplies pointed out I should probably give her some because she's a person that bought the supplies. She gave one to a friend of hers who had a store. And that is how I kind of fell into candle making, because I began making the candles for her stores. And then I took a break from I was still doing private label, but my first love was perfumery. And so I got more into perfumes and making fragrances for perfumes. And then I discovered that I can put my fragrances in the wax and do my own custom blends. That led to me blending my own wax blend, which led to me being in a store in Southern California. I put some stuff in there just for consignment, and that led to me having more private labels. So I didn't actually realize that I had a candle business until I left the Bay Area in 2005. So I left Southern California to come to the Bay Area in 2005. And when people were like, hey, we need our candles, that's when I realized, oh, maybe there's something to this. And then if I fast forward to the pandemic, now I was just into perfumery and just doing private labels and every so often launching candles as part of a collection. And then the pandemic hit, and I was making probably 100 to 200 bottles of perfume a week, and I just burned myself out. And so I was like, if I never see another bottle of perfume or fragrance or aroma chemical again in my life, I'll be good. So I focused more just on the candles I was doing and started just selling those in some local stores, and I fell in love with it again. And so that's when I shut down my other business and decided that I was going to go into this side, launching my own brand. But of course, I still do private labeling. That was a lot, but that's how I got started.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. Let's see. Jermaine.
Hello, everybody. Also, firstly, I'd just like to say thank you for, having me. Being a part of this group has really been amazing, and I've learned so much. So just thank you. But goodness, where to start? I was actually a painter first. Back in 2019, I was working for a tech company, and I was a painter. And I had started selling paintings online, and they were doing pretty well. And so I decided that I was going to quit my job and pursue painting full time. And I had an amazing, massive art show on Valentine's Day of 2020. Everything was set up to be amazing. The pandemic happened, and a few months in, people weren't looking to buy expensive paintings. So I literally had to figure out, what I was going to do, how I was going to make money. And I remember the day so clearly. I was getting in the shower, and I told myself I cannot get out of the shower until I figure out a way, a product to create to make money. And that's when I came up with the idea to turn my paintings into candles, so to speak. I wanted to create something that was like kind of sexy, but also art inspired because I'm an artist. And I brought a couple just in case people don't know what they look like. These are candles, scented candles that I've created and designed. But yeah, that's how it got started, and it has been a whirlwind ever since. Some of the guys mentioned earlier, things happen pretty fast. I had a lot of opportunities right away, but I experienced burnout pretty fast too. And I think the last gentleman that was just speaking mentioned that too. But yeah, I'm definitely still a beginner, but it's been an adventure. I had to, learn a new craft. I knew nothing about candles. So I had to teach myself everything. There were so many fails, especially, when I launched in 2020, October of 2020. The candles look great, but there wasn't enough testing. So like a few months in, they had what's the term? When they turn white, I'm spazzing at the moment, but frosted, the candles that are frosted. So yeah, there was so much to learn, but I learned pretty fast, and with trial and error, I'm still here. But that's how I got started.
Yes. Okay. And Mr. Johnson.
I had to take myself off mute there. So we started. I say we because I have a business partner he has stuck with me the entire time since we boys from childhood. So we started around 2018, and we were looking for there was more on the team when we started than now. We a bunch of friends and had come together, and we decided that we needed something purely business minded, something that was low overhead and high return as far as financially. And it was strictly, we had no idea we were going to dive into candles. It was literally just, we were thinking we were money motivated. And we wind up having a conversation one night, all of us, over, how it goes, over drinks and the camaraderie of your friends, and the idea came out, candles, why not? We start researching how much it even costs to make them, and as we all know, as candle makers, it's a very large margin from your product and materials to what we can sell them for. Jermaine says he's an artist. Candles are almost like art. You can you could determine what they're worth, not only just through materials, but if they look good enough, smell good enough, you can put your own price tag. That profit margin that we saw was just, that scalability was huge. So we decided to and we found there was no end. There was no real ceiling. You can go so many ways with it. There's such a niche for everything. And we just over time found out different ways to, cut cost and to make a great quality product and reach the masses with that. So it was all a learning experience, but it was really money motivated. Yeah, so that's how we started.
And I actually have, I don't know if you remember, and I don't know if it was you or your partner. I have one of your candles that y'all made, and it's like it was so huge, and so I don't even think it's finished. I think it's only halfway, and that was a year and a half ago.
That's what we're into. We're into statement pieces. Even
yeah.
I got one. If I can, does this thing turn around? There we go. Oh shit! It's on blur. So if you guys can see, we do statement pieces. This right here is over 15 inches long, and with that's even on the smaller side of can it go back? That's on the smaller side.
In that thing? How many wicks are in it? It look like about 30 wicks.
We got about 11 in here. So and it took, as candle makers, you guys all know, it took a long time for the science. We almost feel like chemists, because it's the wick to wax ratio. Certain wax doesn't burn like this wax. Certain wax doesn't hold a percentage of fragrance with this. You need this type of thickness of wicks and this. Shoot, So I had trial and error for a very long time, just trying to create the best product, the perfect product, and understanding like where we were going to like spider web out and into different genres and everything like that. But like I said, it was money motivated. We started off basically doing fundraisers, which generated a lot of income. So we did fundraisers for the National Breast Cancer Foundation, for local youth programs near Trenton, New Jersey, and then it just it got bigger and bigger, and that's what like I said, the bread motivated us.
Yeah.
To be honest.
All right, Justin.
Yeah, so I've always been a lover of candles. And typically when I'm in the studio or in writing sessions, I've got a candle lit, a glass of wine. Like I really try to set the vibe, and candles have always been a part of my creative process. And typically when doing shows, I usually get the comment that your music makes me want to light a candle. And so from that, it was like, okay, say less. Let me see if I can take a stab at this. And I think there's a real connection between scent and sound, and I really wanted to play with that. So typically in the studio, I'm listening to tracks, and I'm also testing out candles on the side. I run to the kitchen and test out a couple scents while I have tracks playing. So it's become a really immersive thing that I've been trying to set up for listeners. And it's just been a really dope way to get behind the music. So yeah, that's what drew me to it.
And Mr. Keith.
All right, I'm gonna try to give you the Cliff Note version of it. So not only do I have Keith Clark Collection, but Keith Clark Collection was birthed out of my major profession, which I'm a massage therapist. And so when I started creating my body butters and stuff and my oils to actually use on my clients, people started asking me if I had candles, and I was trying to avoid candles just because I felt like everybody was doing candles. But then I came up with the idea to do massage candles. The massage candles were based off of my body butters, so that as they melted, you can use it to moisturize your body, give yourself a hot oil massage, or just a hot massage, blah blah blah. So that was that. Massage candles was doing great. Right before the pandemic hit, I also private label wholesale as well as make products for other businesses. And so I was approached to actually come up with a candle line for someone who was going into the podcast arena. She had her own signature scents, and so we were going to do it. The pandemic hit, and so right when we were kind of in a testing phase, as we all know, things became either scarce or they made us basically purchase minimum quantities or minimum dollar amounts. So as I'm in the research and development for her candles, I had to buy 10 pounds of wax. I could no longer get like a 2-pound block. And then I had to buy a case of vessels, which I think at the time with the vendor I had, the smallest case was 48. Nevertheless, she skipped out on me. She skipped out on the invoices. And I had 10 pounds of wax and 48 vessels. And I say, well, let's flip it. And here we are from 2020, about June 2020 to now going full steam ahead. And that's another segment of my business, which is a candle line. So that's kind of how I ended up doing it full time outside of my regular massage candles.
Okay. Cool. All right. Interesting. So I think the next question is the one that everyone wants to know.
Okay.
Right. So in the candle making industry, it's been labeled as female dominant. And so, like I told y'all, people were like in the group, they were like, hey ladies, but not knowing, hey, there's also men in the candle industry as well. So here you guys are, just a talented group of men. Love y'all. So have you faced any surprising reactions or misconceptions from that whole theory about, mostly, and here's me, mostly being or not being, a female in this industry, being a male that we call a female dominated industry? How does that resonate with you guys? And have you had anything that has come up with that? We'll go back to Derek on that one.
So my experience as a male candle maker has been extremely positive, to be honest. When I first got the reaction of like, oh, you're a man and you make candles, it surprised me because I didn't think that was a weird thing or like a rare thing. But then when the first person said it to me, I started to realize like, oh, a lot of the candle makers who follow me are women. I don't see a lot of other men. And to me, it honestly made me stand out, and I think it drew a lot of interest, both in person and on social media. So I think to me, it has been more of an advantage than a disadvantage. There hasn't really been any negative to it. And then also, I get along with women very well. Like so a lot of my peers, like they like my homegirls, I'm their homeboy. Like I have that kind of relationship with even like people who are my customers. Like they just kind of feel like that to me. So I think that's what makes it work even better for me, because most of my actual friends in life are female. So I think I get that way of thinking, and I've taken advantage of being, I guess what you consider a minority in the field.
I like how you said a minority in the candle industry. Yes. Yep. And so I'm gonna pivot real quick because I know Emilio was having a little bit of issues getting on. So I want Emilio to introduce himself, his candle brand, how long you've been a Chandler. So welcome, Emilio. You're on mute. I think you're on mute. Yes, there we go.
Okay, there we go. How y'all doing? I was having a time out there. How's everybody doing? It's good to see brothers. I just want to say that, this is a female-dominated field. And just when I saw whole thing with all these brothers. I was like, oh, not the only one. But yeah, I've been doing candles since the pandemic, like most folks. For me though, it started maybe 30 years earlier. I have children, older children, and we used to live in a craft town. So I learned how to make candles with the kids. Then, I had to work, put that to the side. I retired. And so I needed something to do. I retired young, so I needed something to do. So I said, I'll get back into candle making. And in 2020, I was supposed to do some candles for a friend. 2020 hit, his event got canceled. I said, hey, what I'm going to do? And I'm very spiritual. And the Lord said, I gave this to you. So I just went right on into candle making. Then it came up to, well, what are you going to name it? And my thoughts were, when do people burn candles the most? They burn candles the most during sex. You want a little bit of light in the room, but you don't want a lot of light. So I said, okay, my first thoughts was sex and scandals. And then I said, nah, I knew that I had to have candle on the jar. So that's thus how sex and candles came about. So then after that all came about, I said, well, what are you going to name these candles? Because everybody has pineapple sage, mahogany teakwood. Those were boring. So that's how Dickmatized came. And all the rest of the other ones. So, I got Zaddies and Can I Bust and Edicts. So that's how all of that came about because, listen, and the
Emilio
same
don't
way
woke up this
everybody is
whole.
reacting the same way everybody is acting right now is the effect that I wanted when I entered the room. So 9 times out of 10, I'm in a room full of women and they're all like, oh my God, as they buying and walking out the door. So I'm happy with it. So that's how I came about with the whole company, Sex and Candles.
Yes, and we looked at your page. We were like, woo.
When I'm gonna order, right? That usually that's what everybody is like, oh my God, what am I gonna order? Then they order and they realize, like everyone here, you put in the work for your candles. So you know that your candles smell good. Mm-hmm. So once people order them, they're like, oh my God, these candles smell good. And they get past the names. And then they're like, wait a minute, I like this. And I want another entanglement. And, so it flows, it really, really flows.
Yes. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I have a few racy ones, Jules. So I'm definitely like, yes. I have dick appointment. I think my mom is watching, so sorry, Mom. But I have dick appointment, and people definitely will come from across the room like, does that? So yeah, I love it. I love it.
And then I wanted to start my own lane. Everybody has their lane. And I always say, we're your bedroom candle, not your grandma's candle. So it's like, I wanted to be in my own lane. I didn't want to compete with Derek or Justin. I wanted to be, this is a lane that I'm in. And 20 years from now, when y'all go back to thinking about candles, someone to say, well, Sex and Candles was the first one to come up with some mess like that. That was their mess, so.
Yes. Thank you.
So that was the whole idea of it.
Behind it. Yeah. Well, thank you. We're glad you joined. Yes.
I'm glad to be here. I'm just so happy to see all these brothers. We're like, yo, we need to do a Kings of Candle tour.
Okay.
You heard it here first. Kings of Candles.
Yes. All right. So we're
got
gonna go
Justin,
back.
he can sing. We could do this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because you got, there you go. And then you got Jermaine who knows how to do the artwork and all. So I got it. Yeah, I got it. All right. Thank you. So we're gonna go back to the question about how you feel about being a male in a female dominated industry. So Derek went, so now it's Devon's turn.
Okay, I had to figure out how to take it off of mute. So yeah, I think kind of like how Derek mentioned, everything was pretty much it worked out for me because it's like when I first started, I didn't realize like, okay, yeah, like all the videos I'm seeing, everything that I'm seeing, all the groups that I'm Facebook groups that I'm in, it is a lot of women, but I guess they never really dawned to me like, okay, because I get along with everybody. So when it came to that, it kind of worked in my favor because like it's like I'm cool with a lot of these people. And then like when I first started, I think I did have to put like in my Instagram bio, like I am not a woman because it did get to a point where like people would be like, hey girl, or hey sis, I'm looking for this. And I'm just like, first of all, I'm not white. Second, I'm not a woman. I'm not a white woman that makes candles. So let me just let y'all know that. Cause I think like the first like 6 or 7 months, I didn't really post me on my page. It was more so just like the candles, the aesthetics, things like that. So it wasn't until like my year when I got a little bit more comfortable of like, posting myself like, okay, yeah, this is my page, this is my business. I'm the owner, I'm a black man, like, yeah. But when it came to like doing markets and things, like a lot of my customers are women, like over 80%. So it's like it's good building that relationship with people and finding out what they like because different women like different things. So getting to talk to different people and figure out what should I release for like Mother's Day or should I do a Valentine's release and just having that, relationship with your customers can help you doing it.
All right. And with you saying that, something just look, I'm pivoting a little bit, but do y'all have a lot of male customers or are most of your, I guess when we get to your part, tell us, are most of your customers females or males? I know Derek, you said most of yours are female, but do y'all get a lot of male that buy your candles as well?
I have a lot of women that buy candles, but I feel like more recently I've been having a lot of men because I did like an art show that's called Black Boy Art Show, and it was like nothing but male artists. So like when they see me, they're like, "Oh, I was like the only guy there that made candles." So it was like I was like a needle in a haystack, and everybody was like, "Well, yeah, I'm gonna mess with him. I'm gonna get his candles," and like started having a lot of recurring customers too. So that's been my experience.
Awesome. Okay. All right. And then Emilio, the question about the being a male in the female dominated industry. How does that make you feel?
To be honest, it has been a blessing. Women have blessed me in this field. And a quick story, I was at a event and it was a white woman that walked up to me and was like, my God, in your face. I love it. It's in your face. And she asked me, she said, do you own it? I said, yes, I own it. It's mine. This is all mine. She said, no, do you own the name? I said, it's mine. She said, no, is it trademark? I said, no, not yet. She gave me a card, charged me $500, and I have a trademark today. So I own it. I own it. So women have been good to me in this industry, and no matter where I go, it's always one that takes me in like I'm her son or her big brother, or so I've been blessed. I've really been blessed when it comes to, and as far as men are funny to me. They like all the female scents, and the women like all the male scents. So it works like opposite, but men have since I've like developed a few female scents, they're like, oh, I want to buy that. So I have also a nicer amount of male customers as well.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, Jamal.
So touching on the first part, I'd say we have about an 85%, 15% mix up between our female to male customer ratio, which honestly, that male ratio has been growing a little bit over the past few years, which I've been pleasantly surprised about, right? Because like whether you're at an event or wherever you're at, you kind of sort of see a man walk in, you're just kind of sort of at least me personally like, he's either gonna do it or he's not gonna do it, right? Like guys don't require as much attention or hand holding as some don't, right? Some actually genuinely need to be walked through the process of fragrance education, mood education, etc. Right? But for us, our clientele is primarily female. And to Derek's point, I kind of sort of like how he phrased it, right? Like being a minority in this entire industry, right? For me personally, I am basically used to being the minority in every single thing that I do. So it's basically like a way of being for me at this point in my life. So I don't really think about it anymore. I just kind of sort of exist in a space and expect to do good things. And so for me, some of the questions or some of the things that kind of sort of speak for me, I don't know about you all, right? But it's kind of sort of like when you get the comment like, wow, you speak so eloquently. But in the back of your head, you're just like, for a Black person, right? So it's kind of sort of like that when you're sitting at your tent or your stand or your market thing, right? And people are just like, the typical questions are you a distributor? Is this your product? Do you own it? And when I say, no, we are not franchised. We own all these things. We make all these things. We're not bought. Like, it's such a look of surprise. I kind of sort of equate it to that essentially, right? Because I've been asked, wow, your wife does a really, really good job at designing these things. And I'm just like, well, no, actually, I actually take the time to sit down and creatively think through the experience that I want you to have as a consumer to experience our product and our brand, right? And so when I do all of these things, the look of shock or surprise or the take back is the thing that is always the most funny thing to me, right? I could be dressed in a full suit, and yes, I'm going to look good. Yes, I'm a trophy husband, all of these other types of things. But for them to actually be like, oh my God, you actually designed these things and it looks good and it's classy and it's elegant and I can see it here and it's been featured and you did it? It's kind of sort of like that type of experience, right? And so that's pretty much always been my experience. Not necessarily negatively, right? But it's just like, wow, men can do and men do these things and men are capable. And it's very much so stepping outside of this traditional box that we've been placed in and showing that we are very capable of doing these things, thinking of these things, creating these things without the societal norms that have been placed upon us and saying, yeah, I'm a candle maker and I make things that look good and yeah, they smell good. You're welcome, type of thing. And so that's pretty much been my experience, not negative, but more so an opportunity to educate people, more so Black youths, right? To say, hey, you don't necessarily, and I mean this as unoffensively as possible, you don't have to be a basketball player or a football player or these things that people tell you that you're supposed to be. You can be a designer or a creator, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't necessarily demasculate you or anything of that nature. If it's something you're passionate about and if it's something you're happy about, go do that. And that's one of the things that I personally love about being a minority male chandler in this industry, because that really does resonate with people to really say, oh, I can do other things than what society forces upon me. And that's been my experience and one of the most beautiful things of owning this business that I have loved being able to discuss and share with people.
I love it. And that brought me back because when I started making candles, it was me and my husband, right? This was a long time ago, 2000, and we would be selling it out of our cars. Like I'd go somewhere else, and he would always sell out, right? I might come back with like 5 or 6, but he would sell out. And I'm like, how you selling? How you sell out all these candles? He's like, I don't know, I just got that charm like that. I'm like, So
don't hate on Rod, sis.
But he would always he would sell out of the candles and I'm like, yo. So yeah. But he was making candles with me. So we, and it's interesting how y'all's perspective on that. I love it. So Jared is next.
So when I first started, the world was different and there was no social media and the world wasn't what it is now. So I didn't know that there was anything different. about it. My experience was just people wanted candles and I was making them. When I realized things changed, it was still, I don't know, like I didn't feel different. I felt like when I looked around, I saw other men who made candles, but I didn't see other Black men who made candles. And I guess my experience in life, I mean, I'm a redhead, freckle faced, green eyed Black man from Orange County, California. So I was born limited edition. And I'm used to standing out because I was just designed to, and as I have the most negative, I mean, the most rare blood type in the world. So everything about me is limited edition. So I was just used to that piece. So for me, engaging with people, it was easier to sell because I'm limited edition. Why wouldn't you want why wouldn't you want my product? And then mostly interacting, like my experience in the market has been mostly women will buy or will be the first people to buy. My target customer is based on the women that I sell to. And then they will come in and say, well, do you have something for my boyfriend or do you have something for my husband? And that's how I've had the like selling to men. But I would say 85% of what I sell is directly to women. Yeah. And then just this space, like I didn't know honestly that there were this many Black men. This is amazing to me to just see it and to be part of it because I didn't know that was the case. I knew of Amelia and I were in a group. I think it was the coconut candle wax making group on Facebook. So I heard of sex and candles and I was like, man, I wish I had thought of that was brilliant. And then Jarek, I see your content on Instagram. And so that's really all that I knew just from interacting. So I think it's been like everyone else has said, it's been a blessing for me. The thing that does kind of get old is in the beginning, I would go into like some of the groups and stuff just to learn more or to just connect with people. And it was the same thing. Like I would get like even the Black candle makers, my first introduction here, it was like, hey sis. And I was like, well, he, him, even though I'm tired of like having to say pronouns in every meeting, in that case, I was like, let me just say that it's he, him. So that part, it just is what it is. But I feel like it's open, if anything, it's opened more doors for me.
Yeah, I love it. That's interesting you said that because I know when I started the Black Candle Makers Club, I was just surprised it was just that many Black candle makers, period. I was just like, I don't know. I'm thinking, oh, it's not that many of us, but I was like, as the group grew, it's like 13,000 people in the group and they're all Black. I'm like, what? This, that. So I get it because I didn't think it was that many Black candle makers, period. So that I like what you said, Jarek, about that. Jermaine.
I like that statement that he said about being limited edition. That's pretty dope. But I don't know. I guess we can just say, like women are the best. Like everyone else, like really, like everyone else, I feel like it's been a huge benefit. I've had so many amazing opportunities, and 9 times out of 10, it was brought to me or presented to me by a female. I've created candles for celebrities and I've gotten to, teach, children, like so many wonderful things, but it's been majority female for so long, like presenting those opportunities. In the beginning, my customer base was actually, maybe 90% female customers up until maybe a year ago, when I actually made a point to try to target men, to purchase candles as well. And I did that, I think, by like creating stuff like this, like, people are probably going to buy that. But yeah, I think it's been a huge benefit. Just opportunity after opportunity, honestly. It hasn't affected me negatively, I don't think, at all.
Okay. We got Mr. Johnson.
First of all, hold that up again. I was fire.
Yeah. Yeah, these are actually candle holders. So
yeah,
I'll
it was what it
that
looked
later.
like.
Yeah, and they're unique. Like I design everything, and you can just put your candle in the top, you know. But yeah,
I'm
you
gonna
know.
pick your brain. What is the? Do you get like a 3D rendering of that? How does that?
No, I started with like resin. Now I started playing around with 3D things, but they're very heavy.
Does it
It's
hold up
resin
with the
based.
heat?
Yes, they are heat resistant, so
Okay.
it's safe to burn.
Yeah, this is why we're doing this whole thing. I gotta get
Yep.
ideas.
Yeah, so and that's how I attracted more like male clients, I guess, or customers. So doing stuff like that.
And those candle holders are dope. I've got two of them. I've got two lion heads. They are gold and they are beautiful. I love them to death.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we definitely wanted something sexy and masculine, you know, to attract male customers. So
Awesome. All right, Mr. Johnson, you're up.
Okay, you guys said you know, do we notice that, you know, we at Lit Candles definitely noticed it was a female dominant industry. They say know your audience. So that was something that in the beginning we took into account. We wanted to cater to women and everything like that, and understood that the basis of our clientele was going to be mainly, you know, mainly women. The back if even if you know, the husband or a man likes it, it's their wife that's gonna buy it for them. You know, most men aren't gonna, you know, take their time to buy excessive. They might buy one or two, but you know, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. You know, the bulk of our sales was always going to come from women. I tried to you know, as you can see, jewels from the aesthetic that we have, concrete vessels, they do cater towards a certain type of masculinity. But just it just, I guess, catered also towards more of that modern aesthetic that women like, and you know, so that was one thing. I do like what Emilio touched on about as far as trademarking. You got away with steel because I paid 3 times as much for the trademarking. That is not that is something that is not an easy you know, and we don't know when we first start that you need it as bad as you do. The only thing I can say as far as catering to men in the candle industry, when I came out with we came out with a smoke odor candle. I don't know if you guys can see, but it's a smoke odor assassin candle. That's what we called it. And it eliminates smoke. I saw a niche and a little, you know, headway in there. If you guys ever go into smoke shops or anything like that, there's literally like no representation of anything else but this company called Smoke Odor out of Kentucky. Two brothers, not brothers, but two white men, but they are brothers, but they have monopolized the market. And when I saw that, I was just, every store I went into, just constant, only their candles, only theirs. And I'm like, they're making a killing. And with seeing that, I said, well, I'm gonna have to make my own candle to derive smoke odors. And you know, us being all natural and everything, of course it does work and it is legit. But that was something that I noticed that got more of a male audience. Because, you know, now it eliminates smoke, you know, cigar smoke, cigarette smoke, marijuana, this, that, and the third. But that was able to cater towards my male audience the most out of any candle that I've ever sold. And it's the only one that we have that is in. We're in over 30 stores with that one. So, yeah. But yeah, so that's where I see the difference in male and female audience in the candle industry for us.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Jules, real quick, before we move on. I like to tell people this because I had no idea until I used the service. So anybody that, and even people watching, if you need to trademark something, if you look at the USPTO website, there's a list of the like law clinics at the different colleges in your state. It's broken up by state. You can apply to have them help you trademark. I only paid for like the $300 or whatever it was for the fee to actually pay the USPTO. I didn't pay $1 in attorney fees. So anybody who needs to trademark, that is definitely an option.
All right, yeah. And we have Justin.
Yeah, so I have had a really positive experience. Actually, when I first started, I leaned on a few female candle makers for advice and insight, and they were nothing short of amazing. They gave a lot of great feedback. Some of it that was a little harsh in the beginning. You know, loving candles and creating them is two separate things. So, but they were very honest, and gave me a lot of support starting out. So I've had a lot of positive experience with females in this space. So shout out to the female candle makers. I credit a lot of my success to you ladies. So thank you. And then as far as the male and female breakdown, as far as your target audience, I would say it's about 80-20 for me. Typically, when I do vendor shows, I always set it up so that I perform if there's like a celebrity stage. So I'm able to make the connection between my booth and the candles and what happens on stage. And so sometimes I'll get men that come up that'll buy candles for the girl. But I always have a couple male scents available for them as well. So yeah, it's about 80-20. 80-20.
All right. And Mr. Keith.
Let's see. For me, once I really got into candles, I really didn't pay attention to whether or not it's female dominated or male dominated. It was just a part of my business and an extension, and to also create an ambiance and an experience. Because I am a massage therapist, so I also know how to set a mood or set the room. And even though my skincare line is all based off of aromatherapy, and so all of my candles and scents are created with a purpose to have an effect on you mentally, physically, and or emotionally. And so I didn't even look at it as, oh, a woman dominated industry or not. It's just something that I could create and I'm gonna make some money off of it. I think the only time I kind of ran into, I guess, knowing that it's female dominated or the whole female powered kind of industry was a couple of times I went out for grants and they asked me if I had any females in my company that is either majority owner to get the grants, even though they weren't woman minority grants, they were minority owned, but I had more of a chance to get either in box stores or if I or get into certain retail and or get the grant if I had a woman that was majority owner. And I say, yeah, no, that ain't happening. My sisters have their own businesses. I'm good. And so we just kept on pushing. And I'm still here. I have about a 70% women, 30% men buyer rate. I do better connecting with the men buyers when I do in-person events. Online, it's mainly majority of women outside of a few of my homeboys who continually support me.
Awesome. All right, so do you guys have any questions for each other? No?
A lot of your stories are similar, like from every aspect of how you started, who you sell to, and just everything is very similar to each other.
I have a question. We're here at Lit Candles. We're going to be branching out. We do a lot. We do manufacturing. We make candles for other companies. We make candles for ourselves. We have different lines, you know, luxury brand, everything like that. But we're just we're going to get into the realm of also doing candle making classes. I have some interns and everything like that, and I want them to, you know, some are going to be doing vendor events, others are going to be doing candle making classes. Who here has done that? And what do you need? As far as, of course, we know all our materials and everything like that, but how do you guys go about it? How do you keep them engaged the entire time? You know what I mean? If I could pick anybody's brain on how to do that and have the whole session go smoothly from start to finish, that would be great for me. So, because we're going to launch this in next year.
I can say so when I do candle making classes, for me it might be a little bit different because I also have the perfumery piece as well. But I start out skipping a lot of things that I'm sure you've already done about like the wax and the wicks and like the cure time of the candles. I do the candle making piece, and after that, I do a perfume making piece, and then there's an education piece that I do for people during the time. I partner with a place that's able to have alcohol, so they can have wine during the time. So we kind of make the whole thing like a fun event, sort of party event. For the educational piece, I make it a trivia piece where there's some giveaway. The biggest thing for me that I learned was having plug-in fans in the room to help cool the candles. And if you want to connect, I could give you a little bit more, some tips around how I did that, so not to take the time, but cooling the candles in a way that they could be ready to carry out by the time that they leave was the biggest learning curve for me.
I think Derek had something also.
I've done a couple of candle classes, not a whole lot, but in doing those, what I realized is going in, you have to determine like, okay, who is this audience? Is this an audience of candle makers who actually want to learn how to like the science and all that kind of stuff? Or is this a group of people who's just looking to have a good time? Because those classes are going to go completely differently, right? So if you got group of people just looking to have a good time, basically you want to make it as easy as possible. You're not really trying to teach them the science. Have everything completely laid out. When I did it, I have like a step-by-step guide that kind of goes through the sciencey part. They can read it if they want to. But I had the wicks basically laid there, the jars laid there, the fragrance, I had it mixed, but they can mix it more if they want. Like I just made it as simple as possible. And then if you're teaching actual candle makers, you want that, of course, to be a little bit longer. You want it to be more detailed, but just realize if it's a group of people who just want to have a good time, they're not gonna pay a whole lot of attention.
Did you separate your classes? Like, did you do like a regular like for fun class and then like an advanced candles makers class?
So both the classes that I have done, both of them ended up being just people who just wanted to have a good time because they were corporate events. I just went into the second one differently than I went into the first one. I went into the first one very serious and like, trying to,
yeah.
But then the second one, I was like, oh, these people, they just want to have a good time. So let me just make it as laid out and simple as possible. So I haven't necessarily done a super detailed one with candle makers who want to know how to do it. And I haven't done that.
Right. Because I would figure for that, you go into depth, you could charge more, but it's going to be the process.
Yeah.
If I can hop in here really quickly, because we've done quite a few candle making classes in our area as well. And I think some of the biggest things that I took away was one, developing some type of sheet where they can select their candle fragrances themselves, right? So typically what we will do is we have little boxes or kits that will pre-assemble prior to the event itself based on how many people are going to actually attend. And within your kit, it's literally a box that you can order from Uline. It has a little handle on it and everything like that. Within the kit itself, we will measure out the wax. We'll put the wax in a bag. We'll put a wick in there. We'll put a candle jar in there. We'll put warning labels in there. We'll also put like a personalized candle label in there as well, that they can write their own fragrance label on there with our own logo stuff on there as well. So they can name their candle whatever they want to, which people actually really, really love that because they're personalizing the experience, memorializing what they've learned within that particular event, right? So like that's step one. developing a kit that we can easily take based on a pre-count that we already know how many people are going to be there, right? Step two is within that kit, we'll also have a sheet that has all the fragrances listed out that we're going to take to the event. So they can all, we have 3 parts of the event that eat up a lot of time, right? In order to keep it going and keep it very, very interactive. The first one is, hey, you guys, all right, we're going to walk you through your kit. The second one is, we have a table set up with all the fragrances. Go take 20 minutes, 15 minutes, smell all the fragrances, talk about it, see which ones you really, really like. Bring that back and select it off on your sheet, right?
How many
That
fragrances
way,
did you bring?
I probably took about 15 fragrances,
Okay,
right?
that's
And
a
if
good
we
amount.
were, yeah, right. And we also do seasonal collections for every single season. So like depending on when we're doing it, we also take seasonals as well because people love their seasonal fragrances and collections too. And so we have the paper in there that has all the fragrances listed out. They go back to their seat, they literally write their name, they write the fragrance on there, they submit it to one of the helpers who will then collect all the things and everything like that. So that's one thing that eats time. The second thing that eats time is we turn it into a game, right? Like we all have our measurements for how much fragrance we need to wax and everything like that. Once all the wax is melted down, we try and say, hey, who can hit the right measurement on the money and they actually really, really enjoy that, right? Like if you need 7.58 ounces of wax, who can get that? And they really, really get into that and they get really excited about it, especially if they're drinking. Everybody has a really, really, really good time, right? And then while the candles themselves are cooling or while we're waiting, something else that we really like to eat into time that a lot of people get into as well is a very standard question. Why did you choose the fragrance that you chose? Right. And a lot of the time, 9 times out of 10, people come back with some type of memory that they've associated with the particular fragrances themselves. And they tell their story and people just love it, helps them get to know each other within the class. Maybe they interact a little bit more. The other component that we set up front, or the other expectation we set up front, depending on what venue we're at, is are you able to let your candle sit for like maybe an hour or 2 and come back? Do you need to come back the next day, or do you want us to mail your candles out the next day? Right. I like to get all of those understandings up quick because then it just creates for a very serious or a very seamless customer experience in terms of how you want to run your candle class. And those are some of the really big components that I've noticed that always helps our candle making classes be a success. Again, this is just specific to consumers, not candle makers, but it helps us have a very seamless experience with our candle making classes for our consumers, for them to always want to come back. And then these are some of the people in our local area when they see us out at markets, just like, oh my God, I did a candle making class with you. I feel bad for not remembering them, but I do love that they cherish the experience that much enough to recognize us out in the wild type of thing. So those are probably the top 3 or 4 things I would say to consider when building out your candle making experience or product.
But those are good things. Those are excellent things. Thank you. Thank you guys. And yeah.
And Latrice, you said there were questions in the chat from the
There
audience.
was one, they wanted to ask Kai, how you call him, direct Kai, how, if he uses the same FO for his candles and perfuming. That was a question.
Yeah, that's really hard to do because some of the aroma chemicals that I use for perfumes don't work well in wax. So it's really hard to do that. It's much easier to do to blend fragrances for candles than it is for perfumes. And I've been thinking about maybe doing just one YouTube video on blending fragrances because I see it's the number one question people have. And it's a lot easier than people think, but it's really hard to have one fragrance that works in soap and perfume and candles. And it's not cost effective for my end price.
Was that the only one, Trace, or was there?
Well, I had another one come up, but I can't really see the last. Hold on, I think. I'm not sure. Can you make a candle that smells like? I guess it's supposed to be piss, but pee. Listen, that's what. Listen, I just pulled it up.
If you mix amber and honey together,
I don't know.
In the right ratio, if you mix found out by accident, but if you mix amber and honey together, I did a private label candle that I ended up calling Golden Shower. But it was by accident. But it was amber and honey, and it smelled like
Wow.
yeah.
And it smelled
You
like
don't
pee.
accidentally
Amber and
find out
honey.
pee.
That's your answer. Oh, y'all would wait to give it to me. Listen, what else you want? What else you want? What else you got? You got 2 minutes. The X. Okay, hold on. Let me read this. They said they just want to thank. Oh, this is from somebody. They just want to thank Devon for helping them back a while back, struggling with their Shopify things, whatever. Oh, that's Kim. This is Kimberly Johnson, Devon. So
Okay.
we did have a lot of thank you all. This is nice. They didn't know about the men and candles. Emilio, they love your names, right?
Thank you.
They love your names. And of course, Entanglement is gonna forever be one. Kings of
Yes.
Candle is a hit. So y'all got to get together, man, and do
Kings
this
of
Kings of Candle
Candles.
thing. Huh?
Yep, Kings
Yeah.
of Candles. And
Yeah.
I did
Emilio,
have
you
I'm sorry, you go ahead.
Go ahead.
I just had one question for everyone. I don't know how much time we have, but maybe they can answer just really quickly. What everyone's ultimate goal is, what does that look like for everyone?
And I know Emilio, you were, I think, gonna say something as well, but if you want to go first.
Well, I wanted to touch on my sister, DC Miller. I'm a Miller also. So I wanted to touch on, she was saying that you have options, like it's an option. I want to say more like you said it. It's an option to go to get your trade. No, you need a trademark. You need a trademark. And I'll tell you, I've been online where I've seen people try and take sex and candles, and I've had to write them and get cussed out because I'm telling them, listen, no, you can't do that. I know you're in another state, but no, I have a United States trademark. That's one. And two, for new candle makers, please get insurance. Before you walk out there and start selling candles, please get insurance. They will take your house, your car, your kid's college fund. People they will have no mercy on you. So I see a lot of new candle makers. They run out there, they learn how to throw some wax in a jar and no insurance. And I'm looking at them like, you about to lose everything. So, but the other question was, I'm sorry, was my long-term goal. My long-term goal for myself is, one, I wish I would have did it 30 years ago when I first learned, because I'd be further in the game to pass it on to my children so that they have something that they could do. I think for a lot of people my age, which I'm 53, my parents didn't know how to run a business, how to get an LLC, how to do these things. And I'm learning it now to pass it on to my kids, still pass it on to them. And I try to teach younger people that, hey, this is what you have to do. I don't care if it's a t-shirt company or anything, so my ultimate goal is to say, hey, I'm gonna pass this on and I'm gonna go do something else. I want to retire again. So but that's what my long term is.
Okay. I'll just go at the top of my screen. Long term.
Wait, did you
Jules.
say me?
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jamal. But next, can we do Jermaine, because there was a question in here, and then maybe he can answer it along with his thing. Next, after Jamal.
Similar to Amelia, right? It's very much so trying to grow my business to be able to pass it down, to have it for my children, but with an emphasis on sustainability, right? And when I say sustainability, I feel like that resonates with people very, very differently. And for me to have an auditor full-time position, for me, sustainability means making sure I have policies and procedures in place for my operations so anyone can step into this job and do it, right? Making sure I have an adequate inventory system to be able to know what's happening at all times and tracking things, right? Making sure accounting is put together, making sure I have UPC codes put together, making sure that all of my systems are talking, making sure there's automation in place. So from a long-term sustainability, or from a long-term perspective, sustainability is my focus. So I don't always have to be present and things still run very smoothly, whether I'm here or not, in order to make sure that my children, whether they want to have this or not, they will still have a paycheck consistently coming in that's going to support them and their future endeavors.
And Tricia said there's a question for Jermaine.
It was, yes. Of course they didn't know his name, so they were like, what is iPhone 3, Jermaine? doing?
Sorry, I forgot to change that. It's not iPhone.
It's fine. They just want to know what were you doing to create candle holders. So I did respond. I said, because you wanted something to go with your art, right? So you create the candles to go with your art. So if I was wrong, correct me, but you can expound now since you brought up the question, and you can go ahead. But I didn't want to miss it because I said there wasn't any more questions, but it was the one, and I'm sorry.
No, I appreciate it. Actually, that ties in with my long-term goals. Just like I started as a painter, and I wanted to figure something, create my own lane. That's kind of what I did with my specific type of candles. And long-term, I'd like to have, I'll answer that first. Long-term, I'd like to have a dedicated, reliable team, someone that handles like the different aspects of the business, because as many of us know, it's very difficult to do it alone. You know, the marketing, the actual making the products, the shipping, the customer service, it's a lot. So long term, definitely having a team that I can trust, and also just to continue to build new art inspired products. You know, I've done skincare too, but I'd like to move into, you know, more home decor items. You know, could you imagine furniture that looks like this, like a table, maybe? But yeah, just moving into more innovative, cool things. And for the second question, was it about the process of creating it?
They just wanted to know what were you doing to create candle holders. But like I said, you wanted something to go hand in hand with that, which is why you started the candles. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I started the candles, you know, art inspired candles, and they were
right.
It was going great. But the thing is, I heard customers saying that they're so beautiful, I don't want to burn them. And if that's the case, I don't know if I'd sell many, you know, long term, because everyone's just saving them. So I wanted to create something that, like a beautiful piece of art that people could keep and they wouldn't have to burn. So I decided to turn the candles into these candle holders. And then you could just buy your Jermaine Demetrius jar candle and pop it in the top. So that's how that kind of came about.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So then let's see, Devon, long term?
So pretty much for like, I see as long term, I eventually want like a brick and mortar store. I know we all talk stuff about like brick and mortar and the horror stories and things like that, but eventually I see myself having a brick and mortar store and also using it as a space where I can also host candle making classes, and not just host candle making workshops and things like that. Have other makers be able to come in if they want to host something, or, you know, just make it like an event type of space. So it's not just dedicated to candle making. It can also be for multiple things. So that's one of the things, and like pretty much everyone else harped on, like finding a good and reliable team, someone that's, you know, going to be there, know the ins and out, where if you're not present, then things can kind of get taken care of and you don't have to always pretty much babysit, you know. So I think those two will be a good start.
And Nikki was shaking her head because she had a store. So it's like 2 stores.
Not the deuce.
Yeah. All right, Justin. Long term.
Yeah, so I'll say it this way. I think my focus right now is just finding new innovative ways to fuse the candles and the music, like merging both of those worlds, really in a live experience. So that's one of my focuses right now. But also, it's just taking time and giving myself grace. I think sometimes, me specifically, I have all these goals and aspirations, and it's like if I don't achieve it by this date, I failed. So I've been really working on just giving myself some grace, taking time, learning everything I can about the candle making business, and just being kind to myself. 2024, we being kind to ourselves.
I love it. Yes. Jared.
So I want to say first, just to go back to the copyright trademark thing, I had a company called Ganache Perfumes, which became very successful. I did not trademark the name. I ended up selling it to someone else, and someone else registered the trademark, and that is why that business is closed now. So if you think you're small and you don't need to trademark your name, if you plan to do this long term, you should. Fortunately, I have moved on. I mean, it's unfortunate for the people who were there, but I have moved on. But it could have been not good. So I just want to echo that it's important, and I think everyone knows my insurance companies. I mean, my insurance story. So please get insurance. My ultimate goal is to create a legacy brand that I can sell to Estee Lauder or L'Oreal. Yeah, that's my ultimate main goal and what I'm working towards.
Awesome. Cool. All right. Mr. Johnson, long term?
I'm trying to be bigger than Yankee. Yeah, yeah. We're in so much. That's why I asked earlier, and you guys gave me awesome feedback about candle making classes. We've dived into the retail game. We've dived into the fundraising game, where we started. We're in the manufacturing game. We make candles for other companies. We got the big machinery. And we just want to grow and grow and grow. I want it to be, I want to dwarf Yankee. That's what I want to do. Yeah, they made 8 billion off of candles. I can do that.
And their candles aren't even better than any of ours.
Nope, not. I'll be honest with you. Everybody here in this chat probably has better candles than Yankee candles. I guarantee it. We all know they use paraffin wax. Crap.
Hey, don't be talking about the paraffin wax now. I use paraffin now.
When you selling it for the prices they selling it for, and it's just, it ain't. It's a scam.
I burn Jules' candles in my house, so if paraffin is gonna kill me, it is what it is.
It ain't gonna kill you.
I haven't died
yet. No, they have the least amount of what's in there. Like, they have the least amount of time and effort put into their candles, and they're getting the highest amount of return. And off of just their name alone, they break a mold that, like, is almost dang near untouchable. They don't have to do anything to sell a candle. They don't have no commercials no more. They don't even have to be in Hallmark no more. They can be in anywhere they want to be, and they sell just based off the name. And that's what I want. I want the name. You see lit candles and you think money.
Yep.
That's it.
All right.
I used to feel like that about Bath and Body Works, but I saw a commercial for them the other day and was like, are we doing bad or what's happening?
Things are good on the home front, right?
All right, Mr. Keith, long term.
Long term, and I'm just going to ride this thing till the wheels fall off. If they ever fall off, I don't think they will, but something to pass down to my nieces and nephews to also help them, become entrepreneurs themselves. So I'm a creative, and so long as God give me breath, He also will give me the ideas to create. So the sky is the limit. I've been in retail. I've done, private label, wholesale. Um, yeah, whatever God leads me, that's where I'm gonna go.
Amen. And last but not least, Mr. Derek.
So long term for me, to be completely honest, I started this company with the mission of teaching people how to take care of themselves. And that's still very much the ethos of the brand. I named it Home because I'm a homebody. That's where I feel the most comfortable. And that's what I wanted to create products to enhance your home space, right? I want to continue to, expand into as many home touch points as I possibly can, product wise. But more than anything, I really just want to continue to have fun with this, because when I started, everything started to move so fast, and people of course start to get in your ear and say, oh, why don't you have this, or oh, you should think about that, and you start to take those things in, and your vision and your mission and goals and all that kind of can get skewed or clouded. And so, very early on, I was out of my home workspace and into a shop. I'm trying to expand and appear as though I'm this big business when really it's just me. And so I think I reached that point of burnout that I think all of us can relate to. And like it sent me into one of the deepest, really the only depression that I've ever had in my life. Both, emotionally, mentally, but then also financially, because it takes a lot to run a business, specifically, as a Black person who doesn't have that foundation, no entrepreneurs in my family, no family money, no nothing like that. I started this with the money out of my pocket, right? And I think all of us probably can relate to that same thing. So, people see me on social media and they have a perceived like success or perception. And I'm telling them like, hey, take it as slow as you need to take it. Your journey is your journey. Have fun with it. For me, I've gone back to work full time. I did this full time for like almost 3 years. And it ran its course. It did its thing. And I could have kept doing it, but like mentally, emotionally, it just wasn't for me. So I've moved back into a space where I have my full-time job, and I'm just allowing it to grow organically and at a pace that makes sense for me. So that's kind of the message that I'm preaching these days. It's like, don't feel pressure. Like, I love people who are super ambitious and want to be bigger than Yankee. Like, that's amazing. And I believe that you will do it. But also, like, that's his goals that don't have to be your goals. You know what I'm saying? Like, if all you ever want to be is a small candle maker in your home and you just do that. Because that's kind of where I'm at, to be honest. And if it grows and is bigger than that, great. I'm going to do everything that I can do for it to be able to do that. Like Jamal said, I want my processes, I want everything to be running in such a way that it's not just all on me, and, I can pass it off. But like, I'm not in a super big rush to do it. Right now, I'm focused on having fun, as y'all can see on my Instagram.
Speaking of your Instagram, the content, I die every day. Just scrolling. You are hilarious.
Crazy. I was
You're
telling them.
hilarious. The Real Housewives of Atlanta took me out. That was hilarious.
Thank you.
Yes, that was great. Well, we have come to the end, and we have been so excited about this, and I just love seeing you guys and all of your work, and just, it's amazing how different everyone is. Y'all all have something unique and different from each other, but I love how we're able to bond and you guys are like bouncing ideas off each other. Like this is great. So thank you guys for agreeing to come on and share your stories and spend time with us this evening. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh,
Have a good night.
Thank you.
good night,
you.
everybody.
Good
Good night, everybody.
Peace. Night night.
Peace.